sometimes people get in bed just because they're tired and they're getting in bed an hour or two before they really should. If you got in bed maybe an hour later, you might actually fall asleep a little bit faster.
Now, welcome back to the 14-day masterclass on sleep. I'm talking to Dr. Shelby Harris, a psychologist in New York, sleep expert, and our also very own Rituals ambassador on the topic of sleep. We discussed a lot already, but today we're going to talk about so many people, they say, I'm so tired and I still can't sleep. What's up with that?
Super common problem. So there's a lot of things we covered in other episodes and about winding down before bed, quieting your brain. But one of the other things that people don't think about a lot of times is the timing of their sleep. So we often get in bed when we're tired, but I always say you're tired but wired. So you have no energy. You're tired mentally, but your body's not actually sleepy. I wrote an article that goes along with this class as well that really goes through the details of what sleepy means in your body and what being tired or fatigued means. But you really need to be sufficiently sleepy to pair the bed with sleep so that you fall asleep a lot faster.
Because if you're fatigued, that is a whole different topic, right?
It's totally different, but it's just, you're tired. People have trouble with sleep a lot of times. They're getting in bed and their brain is tired, but they're not yawning. They're not feeling that heaviness, that sleepiness. If you were actually sleepy, you would fall asleep a lot faster. So sometimes people get in bed just because they're tired and they're getting in bed an hour or two before they really should. If you got in bed maybe an hour later, you might actually fall asleep a little bit faster. It's kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, it feels a little counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But if it's about sleepiness, can you induce it? Is that also about the routines that we spoke about?
Yes, the routines are really important. It's hard to force yourself to become sleepy, but usually spending not crazy less amounts of time, but just a little bit less time in bed. But that consistency, getting up at the same time in the morning, will help you get up and get sleepy at the same time at night. So a little less time in bed, going to bed a little later, but waking up at the same time can definitely help induce a little bit of that sleepiness. But you don't want to sleep restrict yourself crazy amounts either.
No, and it's not a matter of being too tired, right?
No. And sometimes you can make yourself, you become almost too wired because you've just stayed up really, really late. So try to be in tune to what your sleepiness signals are versus just being tired, because a lot of people just feel tired all day long. And then also do those wind down routines, because the more you do, you empty your brain out, you do some meditation, a worry moment, you quiet the environment around yourself, you'll help to induce sleepiness a little bit more in that way.
And you'll alert your brain as well with habits like that, right?
Yes.
Hello, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah, routine is super important. So the more you follow a ritual before bed, the easier it will become for your body to know that with each step that you do every single night, sleep is getting closer.
So, this is also a fascinating topic, I feel, because, you know, I have a daughter who can sleep 12 hours a night. I have one who has less. I tend to sleep anywhere between 6 and 7. And then I always read, you need to sleep 8 hours each night because that's the sufficient amount you need. Is that really true?
No. So
Thank God. No.
8 hours is just clean and easy to say. So about 70% of the world needs between 6 and 9 hours of sleep a night. So what does need mean? It means what you get most nights of the week where you feel well rested and refreshed to go about your day. So 6 hours for some people, 9 for others, but the 8 is basically in the middle. That's where they get that 8 from. So I tend to be more of an 8 to 8.5 hour kind of person. My husband is fine with 6.5 or 7. Now, fine, maybe you're sleep depriving yourself, but if you feel well rested, you're not having to fall asleep, you don't sit and you're sleepy all the time, you're probably fine.
Yeah, that was my next question. How do you know if you get enough sleep or if you don't get enough?
Yeah, I think sleepiness is a big thing. But one great way to kind of see, I get asked all the time, like, what's my sleep need? How much sleep should I be getting if there's a range? It's not always easy for people to do, but if you have a week where you can take a week off from any obligation where you have to get up at a certain time in the morning and go to bed at a certain time, take that alarm clock and actually get rid of it for a little bit. For 1 week, use a journal and track what time you go to bed at night and just go to sleep naturally and then just wake up naturally in the morning and look at how much sleep you get after about 7 nights and average together nights 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
That's going to be your sleep need. Don't use the first few nights because you might actually be a little sleep deprived and pay some of that back. But towards the end of that week, if you feel good and you're sleeping 7 hours most nights on your time off without the alarm, that's probably your sleep need.
Oh, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Because I might think that I only need 6 to 7 hours, but maybe I need more.
Yeah, some people, they think they're fine and they're kind of powering through, but usually just feeling kind of mentally foggy, not as sharp as usual. And the big thing is sleepiness. So if you're sitting down and you're, once in a while to feel sleepy here and there, or that dip in the afternoon we've spoken about is totally normal.
True.
But if you're someone who's always sitting in the doctor's office or you're on a train or in a car and you're always doing this, you might actually need some more sleep. And the other way to tell is like if you fall asleep immediately fast, which we've spoken about at night, you might need a little bit more sleep too.
I consider myself a typical night owl. I go to bed really late. I'm not an easy riser. And then again, my husband is really an early bird. He goes to bed at let's say early in the night and then wakes up really early. Is there anything that's better than the other? Does it matter? This is called something like a chronotype in sleeping?
Yeah, I mean, there are some people who are night owls, some people who are early birds. I'm an early bird myself. There's nothing wrong with it. So as long as it works in your life, it's not causing any problems for you health-wise, you're fine with getting up, going to school, going to work, it's fine.
And if you go to bed at 10 or at 12, some people believe that if you go to bed at 10, that the hours before 12 are sort of almost double the value of when you go to bed later. Is that really true?
I don't think there's much to that.
No.
Honestly. So if you can be consistent with your body clock, getting the same amount of sleep most nights as often as you can on the same clock, that's better than kind of shifting all around and putting pressure on yourself to go to sleep by a certain time. Because for many people who try to force sleep to happen on a certain clock, that's not what they're used to, they're going to end up getting more anxious about sleep and it's going to make it worse.
Well, in our next episode, also a very interesting topic, I think we're going to talk about.
If you have a rough night, which is normal here and there, how do you deal with the next day?
That sounds really promising.
There you go.